Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center, man. As you can see by the title, today we're going to be breaking down some film on Garrett Wilson. So we start the video off good, man. You got a 3rd and 8, got to have a situation. It's kind of ironic that we got Bill right there on the side, but he always talk about those got to have it moments. But this is a got to have it situation, man. You get a one-on-one matchup with Garrett Wilson on Theomador Lenore. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And no over-the-top helping, man. It's just simply he gave him a release and he kind of beat him off of the line. You know, he kind of seen that he was able to stack him, and then Aaron Rodgers ended up putting the ball kind of on his back shoulder. He did a good job at being able to adjust to it and make a difficult catch. You know, one of the things I always talk about, you know, is the productivity. Like, you know, are you that go-to player on 3rd down? You know what I mean? When we need a play to be made and we get one-on-one matchup, can you win those one-on-one matchups consistently? And that's what Garrett Wilson does here on 3rd and 8 to be able to move the sticks. We got another gotta have it situation right here. You got Garrett Wilson matched up in a slot against L'Jarius Sneed, and L'Jarius Sneed is obviously, we know how phenomenal of a corner he is. We've seen what he done with his time in Kansas City, so you know he's one of the upper echelons when it comes to corners in the NFL and press corner. So you get a one-on-one situation. You got to have it 3rd and 1. You got to move the sticks, and you get a matchup. And Garrett Wilson really just did a good job. And I was thinking too. When you're looking at receivers in terms of like the releases and things like that, if you think about when you look at defensive linemen, like one of the biggest things that we talk about are their anticipation of the snap to try to be able to get a jump on the ball. And that same thing can kind of go for a receiver too, just being very good at anticipating the snaps to be able to kind of freeze the corner off of those releases, because he might not be focused. You know, obviously he's looking at you more so than watching the ball. So he's going based off of your movements. You know what I mean? And if you can kind of hit him with those very quick movements off the line, it kind of puts him in a bad position. But Garrett Wilson really just did a good job at setting it up. You know, he came off as if he was finna run a slant and just got L'Jarius Sneed to open his hips up and just kind of bounced it back. Kind of similar to what I was saying in terms of being a basketball player with a crossover, get you going one way and come back the other way. And that's pretty much what he did right there. And then on top of that, the degree of difficulty, not just, you know, getting the matchup and getting the release, the fact that he had to look over his shoulder one way and turn right back around the other way and was still able to track the ball and make that catch on physical corner, man, that's just, you know, that's a beautiful play right there. So this is the first time so far I've seen him lined up on the outside. They got a one-on-one matchup on the outside with him and Surtain. Now that might have been, yeah, I think so. It looked like Denver was in a cover 1, so you had a guy over the top of him, but obviously he wasn't going to be able to get to that playing time. And man, honestly, from another play I just got done looking at on top of this play right here, man, this shows you why Aaron Rodgers can still play. Because I mean, honestly, you can't really play this play no better than what Surtain played it. Now I don't know what the flag was called. I don't know if that was called on Surtain's end, or I don't know if it was called on at the line of scrimmage, whatever the case may be. But I think that they were able to get a free play, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously, if you got it with Aaron Rodgers, he's real good at taking advantage of that, knowing you know, his vertical routes, knowing where he has an opportunity just in case somebody is able to jump off sides, or just in case somebody is able to get caught holding. But like I always say too, man, you know, in order to be considered an elite receiver, you have to be able to win those one-on-one matchups, you know, and even when you're going up against top-level corners, like we seen he did with L'Jarius Sneed, and like we seen what he did right here with Surtain, being able to make a tough catch, the great throw from Aaron Rodgers, and, you know, they're able to move the sticks. We have another gotta have a situation, a 3rd and 3. You got to get the first down to move the stick. So one thing I will notice, so we've seen Garrett Wilson line up on the outside. We've seen him line up on the inside. And on this play right here, we've seen him line up in the backfield. And like I always say, one of the things one of the things about having a guy like that can line up in multiple different line up in different places on the offense is that it makes it harder for a defense to scheme around that. You know, when you got a guy that's lining up outside the numbers as a defensive coordinator, it's a lot easier for us to take you away and double team you, even if we know that you're constantly coming out the slot. But when we don't know if you're going to line up on the slot, we don't know if you're going to line up on the outside, we don't know if you're going to line up in the backfield like they did right here, it makes it much harder to really double team him. And that's what they did. That's what I'm seeing that the Jets are doing a good job of moving him. But we're going to talk about, too, the pass, man. You know, just Aaron Rodgers threading the needle. And you see that he threw the ball low. So the point of that, in my opinion, of why he threw that ball low was to try to protect him from getting his block knocked off. Because if you put that ball up higher at his numbers, he's getting canned whether he catch it or not. But if you put it down a little lower and knowing that you have a receiver that can make those tough catches, that can adjust his body to make those difficult catches, it gives you the confidence to be able to try to, do passes like this. So, man, just phenomenal pitch and catch on this play right here to be able to move the sticks. So you got Garrett Wilson on the slot in this play right here, and I'm not quite sure why teams keep playing him in man-to-man in certain situations. I mean, obviously, when you kind of looking at the down and distance, you pretty much know who the ball is going to. Now, granted, at this point, they do have Davante Adams too, so Davante Adams also is a person that you have to take into consideration when it comes to game planning too. So, a lot of the focus probably did go to Davante Adams. They probably had somebody underneath and over the top of him just because of how much of a threat he is. But you get Garrett Wilson right here in the slot, man, and he shows right here that he does have that explosive big play ability to be able to make catches, make difficult catches for one, but also being able to catch on the run and being able to get yards after the catch, like what he done right here, and putting on the good little juke move on Minkah Fitzpatrick, kind of get him on the skates and, and able to eat up some more yardage after the catch. So right here, we got Garrett Wilson lined up in the slot. So they're playing press coverage, New England is. And I'm like the commentator said, more times than not, whenever you're playing press coverage against Aaron Rodgers, you pretty much can be looking for that fade or the go ball. So you see Garrett Wilson is lined up in the slot. Obviously, his split is much tighter, closer to the line of scrimmage, which gives him a little bit more options on what he can do in terms of route-wise. So obviously when you're out wider, it limits what you can do. More times than not, what you're going to run is probably going to either be down the field or breaking back in. But having them in the slot like they did right here with Garrett Wilson, it gives them a two-way go. But that's why I'll also say, too, having guys that's versatile that can line up in several different places, it gives you a lot more creativity from an offensive coordinator standpoint whenever you're drawing up these plays. So, man, like I said, they just got a one-on-one matchup, and being an elite receiver in the NFL, man, you have to be able to win these matchups whenever you get them. And, I mean, it was just a good catch, man, honestly. And you see the ball placement, too, is something that I want to put a little bit more focus on. So, I know that this is a Garrett Wilson video, but obviously, we talk about Aaron Rodgers going to the Pittsburgh Steelers and people saying, does he still have it? Can he still do it? See, this right here is ball placement at its finest, obviously, right? So you pretty much assume that New England, I couldn't see the back part because it's out of frame, but you would assume that New England is in a cover one, meaning that they got one single high, because it looked like they had a robber that was right there across the middle to take away the options of a crossing route from Davante Adams. So knowing that they are, if he puts the ball towards, more so on his outside shoulder, it prevents the opportunity from the safety being able to make a play on the ball, whether that be him breaking the pass up, whether that be him getting the interception, or whether that be him just knocking Garrett Wilson's block off. So, that was just good ball placement. Good ball placement, like I said, just good pitch and catch on Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson's part. Man, once again, and this has been the story of this film session, it's just a phenomenal pitch and catch from Aaron Rodgers' part. So if I have any young receivers that's watching this, and you're striving to maybe get to that level of the NFL, you have to be able to make difficult catches in close coverage, because when you get to the NFL, a lot of the times it's not going to be a lot of separation just because of how talented a lot of these guys are. So if you're looking at a lot of these plays that we're seeing, it's not like Garrett Wilson has like ridiculous amounts of separation. It's just that he's making contested catches and he's making difficult catches. Obviously, I think when it gets to that point, a lot of it kind of comes down to the quarterback in terms of ball placement and just giving you a fighting chance at it. But you have to be able to make those catches and you have to be able to capitalize off those opportunities. So if they're going to continue to play us man to man and not adjust it and not give no over the top help or anything like that, then we're going to continuously take advantage of that. And that's exactly from what I've been seeing, especially in this New England game, exactly what they have been doing, constantly going at number 25. But I mean, he played that as best as you can. You see that they both was hand fighting. I would have preferred for the flags to not be called, because I don't think that it was anything malicious on either or. I just really think that they were just hand fighting and Garrett Wilson just ended up coming up with the play. But man, phenomenal catch on his part. And like I say, man, we seen him do. You're seeing him do it in so many different ways. You've seen him lined up on outside. You've seen him lined up on the inside. You've seen him lined up in the backfield. You've seen him, be able to get yards after the catch. You've seen him be able to make those explosive plays down the field. So when you got a guy that can contribute to all those phases of an offense, it makes it very difficult to defend him. Right here, man, was a sick catch on Garrett Wilson's part. So it looks like what I'm seeing with the Jets is that they do a lot of their damage in kind of more bunch condensed formations. Like I said, and there's a lot of reasons for that, to try to create picks, rubs, to try to get favorable matchups, maybe get Garrett Wilson line matched up one-on-one with a safety or someone who's not as athletic as a corner. And just right here, man, like I said, he just kind of beats him from the beginning. The corner tried to undercut the ball. I don't understand how he tried to undercut that, considering that he was kind of, a pretty good distance behind him. So you take a risk with that, trying to undercut it. Either you're going to get the pick or the pass deflection, or it's going to be a catch. Garrett Wilson just shows good hand-eye coordination and just good hands to be able to reel that sucker in with one hand and, man, just walk straight into the end zone, man. But this was one heck of a catch by Garrett Wilson. Man, this has to be one of the better catches I have seen in a long time. The first thing that I go back to, I'm pretty sure most of you probably know where I'm going at with this, was Odell's one-handed catch, the catch that put Odell on. So this right here was a phenomenal play. Like these are the benefits. Like, this is what I'm saying. We say it's levels. These are the benefits to having a receiver as good as Garrett Wilson. This is the reason why you go out and pay them, right? You go out and pay them because you know that more times than not, when we get these one-on-one matchups, I'm confident that my guy is going to win. More times than not, when we need a go-to, when we're in those gotta have it moments, whether it's a third down, fourth down, or a red area possession, we know that once we call on number 5, he's gonna be able to make a play. So you even look at this. This is 3rd and 19. This is kind of really just shooting for the stars. But when you got a guy that's that talented and that good, once you get those one-on-one matchups, sometimes you can just hit it with the, man, you know what? Forget it. He down there somewhere, and he's gonna make a play. And man, like I said, I had to make sure that they actually counted this as a touchdown, and they did. But man, this by far is like one of the best catches I've seen in a while. And like I say, man, it's just the level of competitiveness, the level of grit, to want to actually fight through it and to try to make a difficult catch. Like I say, man, you got a lot of receivers that have that diva-like mentality to where if the ball isn't placed perfectly, it's like they don't even give an effort. But you got those guys like Garrett Wilson and just like Drake London, that regardless of where the ball is placed, they're going to give a valiant effort to try to make a catch. And man, what a catch did he make on this one right here. So right here, you got Garrett Wilson in the slot matched up against another phenomenal corner, which is Jalen Ramsey. And he pretty much just beat Jalen Ramsey off the line of scrimmage. Obviously, this was another one of those gotta-have-it situations, because I actually believe that this was a 4th down play, if I'm not mistaken. But like I say, these plays like this, these situations like this are why Garrett Wilson got paid the money that he got paid. It's a 4th down situation. We got to have it. We're matched up in the slot. They're going to put their best guy on us, who is Jalen Ramsey, to match up with our best guy, which is Garrett Wilson, and he comes up victorious on that one-on-one matchup. Like I said, he pretty much beat him off the line of scrimmage. Aaron Rodgers put the ball on the money to where he can be able to catch it in stride and be able to eat up some extra yardage after the catch. So now we got Garrett Wilson working from the outside now. So now, we've seen him doing most of his damage from the slot. So now we got him matched up on the outside. You got another one-on-one situation. And, man, he just pretty much puts him in a spin cycle. He did a good job of selling the slant and was able to plant his foot in the ground and turn it into an out route. And, man, he just left the DB in the dust and then was able to eat up some additional yardage as well after the catch. That's why I say, like, man, these plays like these are why he got paid that money. When you get these one-on-one matchups outside, can we consistently take advantage of those, And so far, what I've been seeing from watching film from this past season, man, he's been able to capitalize more times than not whenever they did get those one-on-one matchups. So we got another gotta-have-it situation there in the red area right here. They got a one-on-one matchup on the outside with Garrett Wilson. Obviously, as you can see, his split is tighter, closer to the offensive line. Obviously, that's to give you more room to work outside. You see that the corner probably was playing outside shade on him, maybe trying to funnel him inside if he had the option of running the option route, because that's where his help is at. But obviously, I wish that I had more of the view to see, because I would assume that he was able to give him a fake inside and made the corner just be able to hop inside just a tad bit to give him a outside go to be able to put himself in position to make a phenomenal catch like how he did right here. So it's kind of similar to what I said, like with Drake London, with bigger body receivers. And he kind of did it, too, with just putting himself. And I think it might have just been more so just kind of putting himself in a good position leverage wise to be able to act as a power forward or a center, as if he was boxing out for a rebound and he was able to box out the defender and make a heck of a catch, man. All right, man. So this is gonna be the final play, man. And we got Garrett Wilson giving Jalen Ramsey some good work again, man. And it just Jalen Ramsey was playing off coverage and he kind of took a bad angle on that. And Garrett Wilson was able to take advantage of that. He kind of ran like some type of little it looked like some sort of like a little option route in a sense, you know what I mean? With the option of either he could go all the way through with the slant or he can bounce it back outside with the out route like how he did right there. And if he would have went with this slant, I think he probably would have made it. It probably would have went for the same amount of yardage because you see right here, boom, look at that. Jalen Ramsey would have had to try to run through everybody to try to get to him. So, I mean, that possibly could have ended up being a touchdown if you really want to be completely honest with you, man. But like I said, Jalen Ramsey kind of took a bad angle and he kind of bounced outside and, you know, put him in the spin cycle, man. Like this move right here was almost like one of them Dante Hall type of jukes. You know what I mean? It's like he just had Jalen Ramsey like skating, man. Like it's almost like I think he almost made he made him stumble too. Let me see right here. Boom. Boom. Look. He hit him with one of them AI type crossovers, man. But hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not know that Garrett Wilson was this good. Once again, man, I mean, how many people actually watches the Jets games? Like, let's just be completely honest. You know what I mean? Like, out of all the teams that comes on Sundays, the Jets probably isn't gonna be a team unless you are a Jets fan that you just say, I need to be in front of the TV whenever they're playing. So, but I was very impressed with what I saw from him, man. This kid, I don't know why I said kid. This man is a heck of a receiver, man. I mean, he can do it all. I mean, he can line up on the outside. He can line up in the inside. He can line up in the backfield, as you've seen. So he gives you more creativity offensively, and it makes it much harder to double team or key in on him from a defensive coordinator standpoint. He has the ability to hit you underneath. He has the ability to hit you over the top. He has the ability to stretch a defense out with his big player, with his speed and his big playability. So, man, he is as complete of a receiver as you can get. And I think a lot of what they do offensively runs through him at the Jets. You know, like it's just it's his show. It's like everybody else kind of have to work around him in a sense, man. So the Jets, man, y'all got something with him in the future. If y'all can put pieces around him and if he can stay focused and stay playing at this level, man, you know, obviously he has a bright future ahead of him. But that is it for this video, man. If you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up. But I also forgot to say too, I like his grit. I like his competitiveness. I like that sort of a mean streak he plays with being, you know, with attacking the ball, with making those difficult, tough catches. Like those, like I say, it's as complete as a receiver as you can get, man. But like I was saying though, man, if you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, smash that thumbs up. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, click that notification bell where you be notified every time I upload, and I'll see y'all in the next video.